Hey babe, I'm AI Raven.
And I'm AI Breeze.
And together
We're
we're
R&B.
R&B.
Disclaimer, we talk about God on this channel. We talk about celebrities. We
We
do. It's
do.
just a
It's just
good
a good
balance of
balance of
being
being
real
real.
and applying what we talk about on this channel to your everyday lives. So don't come for us in the comments, but that's just the rhythm of R&B.
R&B.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the R&B podcast with Raven and Breeze. I am your host, Raven, and this is my co-host, my hubby,
What up?
Breeze, and together we make up
The
the
R&B
R&B
podcast.
podcast. So on today's podcast, we are going to be talking about Twitch. This is a sensitive subject, but Twitch's real name is Stephen Bouse, and we're also going to be talking about the book that his wife, Allison Holker, is gearing up to sell on Amazon on February 4th, 2025. And so the title of this video, and y'all, this if I don't change it, it'd be so many things going on in my mind about these different titles. I really be trying to grasp the concept of the topic that we're talking about. So if I don't change it, the name of this video will be Stephen, Twitch, Bouse, and Allison Holker, Hidden Truth in Their Complicated Marriage. Now, when I kind of play with the idea of complicated marriage, it just opened up so many layers about what was really going on behind closed doors in their marriage.
Allison Holker is shaking, and they've been talking about this lady since her People magazine interview. Now, at first, I was on her side, but so much tea came out about her. Allison, I'm looking at you sideways. There's a lot to the story. Let's talk about it.
And honey, I don't know. So let me put that disclaimer out there. But I think that there were a lot of hidden truths or unspoken things that were going on behind closed doors. But before we jump into that, as always, thank you guys for your love and for your support. Thank you guys for the comments. Oh my God, it seems like y'all are really enjoying the video that we uploaded yesterday. That video is called The Life of Tia Mowry, Life After Divorce. We really enjoyed shooting that podcast, and we tried to highlight in the video how she is rebuilding after a broken marriage by first trying to love herself, because honey, that's part of self-care, loving yourself, and then trying to heal in the process. But let's get into this video. So y'all may think this is crazy for me to say this, but honey, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, okay? But since the passing of Twitch Bouse, evidence now shows he was in a fight. You hear me? For his life. And it's evidence. So don't let these people try to fool you out here in these streets. They're trying to paint him in one picture, but I think something completely different is going on. Now, the particular evidence that I'm talking about may not be held in the court of law, but if you tap into your God-given discernment, you can see signs of evidence everywhere that he was in a fight, whether this fight was spiritually, emotionally, or physically. We don't really know. It could have been a combination of all those things. And the kicker is that the evidence is sitting right in front of our faces. We don't have access to his journal, but we do know someone who does. And instead of using this evidence that she found in the journal to sort through some of the unanswered questions that his family has, you use the evidence that you find in a journal in the closet of your home to profit off of it. When you take your marriage vows, if I'm not mistaken, I thought there's something in there that says to honor your spouse. I could be mistaken. Y'all let me know in the comments. But going back to the evidence, I feel like the evidence that we're looking for is in the journals. Without the journal, I would be wrong on so many levels. I wouldn't even feel right talking about this particular subject. But with the journal now coming into play, that brings speculation to be like, well, wait a minute. He took his life, but then he was writing in his journal about some of the things that he was going through. And so, honey, I would like to toot toot my own horn. Not to brag or anything, but just to think that I have a POV in this situation by the way his life was taken. Like, honey, I am speculating like crazy because stuff ain't adding up and it don't make sense. And also what his wife Allison uncovered in his journal, that's the story that she's putting out. I also feel like there's so much evidence in plain sight that a lot of us are not tapping into. Like, I see it and I'm like, Can you see it? But I've been there, like, where people be like, do you get it? And I'm like, no, I don't get it. Help me get it. So I can understand how there is evidence. Like, for me, I see it. It's very plain. But other people may not. And so it's almost like people have to patch different stories together. You get some information from over here, get some information from over there, and you weave through the hidden truths to be like, why are they acting like that? Why are they saying that? Why is this particular person coming out with this information? And then you gather your receipts and you begin to come to a conclusion based on what people are throwing out there, in particular his friends and family. And then you start to piece a story together in your head to be like, wait a minute, he took his life this way, but it sounds like it's more to the story.
Well, tell the people, what are they missing in plain sight?
So you don't think it's strange that his wife stumbles across his journal? Like, I came to the conclusion of him fighting for his life based on what Allison put out there about the journal entries. Again, without the journal, it wouldn't about just speculation. Like, it would have made me not think of anything outside of the information that she was putting out. And if she would have never mentioned his private journal entries, I also feel like the world would have just let his legacy be. And honey, we would have just left everything alone and believed what the wife was giving us. But the revealing of his journal entries, specifically what she says to People magazine, is what set the conversation on fire for me. And then two, as his wife, you didn't know that your husband was struggling. Like, don't y'all stay under the same roof? Don't you conversate and eat from the same table? Like, it almost seemed like if they were living in the same house, that they were just sailing by each other like two ships in a night.
Yeah, babe, I can see that. I mean, on the surface, we all can see that. He was a really cool guy. But for him to take his life, people who have it all together don't move like that. And also, there may be more to the story. Like you said, there's a hidden truth.
Right. And I do believe that there's a hidden truth. But I also think that he was battling with something internal that no one saw coming. Even though he was talking to friends or he was talking to like his cousin, there was something that he was battling that he may have been hinting at, but only Twitch knows how deep it really went. And then to add another layer to the story, people are like, stay woke. And I'm like, for what? But they are saying that the way how Twitch's life ended, that there may be more to the story. That Allison is putting this book out to cover up her part of the marriage, you know, her accountability. That Allison is putting this book out to cover up part of the marriage that she doesn't want to exploit. It's almost like saying, I'm going to take a little accountability, but I'm not going to take all the accountability. Even when people start asking questions, I didn't already put out enough information out there, so it is what it is.
I heard about that too. Like, if you let his friends and family members tell it, Twitch was calling them complaining about the life he had with his wife Allison. But if you let Allison tell it, Twitch was an entertainer in the Hollywood industry, and he played that role very well. But he also played the role very well when it came to work-home balance, because Allison said that Twitch knew how to separate his work from home life.
Yep, I remember her saying that in the interview that she told People magazine that he was good at the work-home balance. But I think that was a false statement, because if he was so good at it, his life would not have ended the way that it did.
Did you see? Well, I saw a post where someone mentioned they were barely communicating.
And honey, truth be told, that should have been a red flag right there.
But Raven dear, you have to think about what she told People magazine in her public interview. She told People magazine that she discovered drugs and she discovered a journal in the shoebox of a closet, which interprets to, I didn't know anything was going on with him.
And I get the point that you're trying to prove, but if you are communicating in your marriage the way how you're supposed to, you know something is off with your spouse. This isn't just like they've been together for a year. Like, I think they were married for like 9 years or more. Or maybe they've known each other for 9 years. So I get what you're saying, but in this case, buddy, that does not apply. I feel like she said that to protect herself. But what raised the question is when the family and friends started coming out saying something completely opposite of what she told People magazine in her interview. And I'm sorry, I just don't believe that his friends and family members are lying.
Right, babe. It doesn't make any sense how she did him. Usually when someone takes their own life, if there's not a note left behind, we're only left with speculation from past conversations. And because his family and friends have been so vocal on social media by calling some of Allison Holker's allegations out that she made about her deceased husband in the People magazine interview, it seems tWitch was one way around his friends and family. And when it came to his marriage, he was another way.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Now I feel like we're getting on the same page because that's exactly what I was trying to say. Like between what the family and friends are saying and what Allison is saying, their stories are not lining up.
No, I get it.
So I don't want to use this podcast episode to focus on why Allison said what she said. We're not going to give homegirl that much credit in her People magazine interview about her deceased husband. But I more so want to focus on why she is trying to exploit his name. And again, this is just me speculating. Is she doing it for selfish gain? Is she doing it for public gain? Why would she use the most intimate thoughts in his journal to put in her book? It doesn't sound like he gave her permission. And does she need his journal entries to really upsell her new book? Like, I don't know. What do y'all think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section.
Yeah, Raven, I don't know. It's almost like it's a story within a story. And parts of the story are missing, and then again, the story is one-sided because there were two people in the marriage, but both people are not here to tell the story. But here's the thing, when you start peeling back the layers, when you dig deeper, the cracks begin to show. There's more to this story than we've been told. And as I'm sitting here thinking about it, the only way this part of tWitch life got exposed was by his wife. It was not exposed by a close friend or by a family member. It was exposed by his wife. And that right there, babe, is deep.
Oh yeah, honey, I know because I just got chills. To know that his wife put this story out here about her own husband and now she wants sympathy from fans, friends, and family. And if she did these things to exploit his life, how is this protecting his legacy? She had everybody at the funeral to sign NDAs. And we all know what an NDA is. So back then, you would think being at the funeral and you're signing an NDA, you would think it was used to protect his legacy. But hindsight, right? 2020 vision, it seems like she was preserving that moment, that intimate part of that moment of his life for herself to put in a book so that she can profit off of it. And the scripture says, what profit a man to gain the world but to lose their soul?
We all have our demons. And sometimes, in the pursuit of everything this world tells us we should want, we lose sight of the one thing that can never be replaced, which is our soul, which is Scripture. The phrase, "What profit a man to gain the world, but to lose his soul," is a profound reflection on the balance between material success and spiritual well-being. It originates from the Bible, specifically Mark 8, verse 36, and it serves as a timeless warning about the dangers of prioritizing worldly wealth, fame, or power at the expense of one's inner peace, values, and integrity.
You can say that again, honey. And we live in a world that demands transparency. It's terrible the way how people really be wanting to be up in your business. Like sometimes I miss the days I was in high school and I would open up a magazine and I would only read like paragraphs, and these paragraphs were really like 4 to 5 sentences about my favorite R&B singer. But now with social media, people think that they're so close to a particular celebrity or whatever that they feel like that this celebrity owes me a lot. And so I feel like it's hard from a celebrity standpoint. And honey, we are not celebrities, but I feel like it's hard for them to keep some things to themselves, but also at the same time be transparent. When you have a platform, the people crave attention. They crave access to every part of you. But sometimes that's why you need really like humble people around you, and you need some people that's going to knock you back into reality. Somebody needs to tell you that some parts of you are meant to stay hidden from the world. These hidden moments are often the ones that carry the most height, the ones that shape us in ways we can never explain. And I believe the journal entries were moments that tWitch never intended for the world to witness.
Right, in this war between the private and the public, we are reminded that some parts of us are meant to remain untouched, shielded in the quiet sanctity of our hearts. Not every wound is meant to be exposed, not every victory meant to be paraded. True strength lies in knowing when to protect our sacred truths from the world's gaze, preserving the sanctity of our personal journey.
I like that, Breeze. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. But before we do, I do want to say that I feel like what tWitch was going through was much deeper than what Allison is actually understanding. Like, I don't know if it's because I didn't came from the Baptist church, honey, that I believe that, you know, this is what the world is saying happened. But I believe that sometimes God will be like, no, it was much deeper than what it seemed. I don't know if she hasn't had that Baptist tap on the shoulder, but I feel like I have in this instance. Like, as a wife in her shoes, for me to lose my husband, and I am in the closet looking for him something to wear to get buried in. And in that moment, I find this shoebox that has a journal in it. The first thing that's going to come to my mind is, should I be overstepping boundaries by reading his journal entries? Like, I'm going to be honest, Breeze. I don't want you to read my journals because some of the things that I say in there, they're personal and they're like things I was going through. And you may find some things in there that are written about you. Like, that would be my dilemma. Should I honor my husband's privacy or seek answers to my own pain? But I feel like I would have wanted answers, and I would have wanted to know if I can find the answers to my questions in those journals about why did he take his own life, allegedly. Secondly, once I read the journal entries, I would have to process what I just read, because what she read in the journal entries is deep, it's heavy, and it's nothing to play about. And that will put me in a space to question myself as a wife. Like, when I was married to him, when I thought I was being there for him, it turns out actually maybe I wasn't, because of what I'm seeing in the journal entries. And that's what I'm saying. They may have been like two ships in their house, just passing each other along the way, but putting on for social media. It happens all the time, y'all. But if I feel like I wanted to give this information out, you know, the information that I saw in the journal, then I will first give this information out to his mama. Keep in mind, his mama is still alive. And it wasn't like she was a distant relative. At least it didn't seem like it. I'm going to put it like that. And then I would decide if I wanted to give the information out to other close family members or other close friends who really had his best interest at heart and who had his legacy in mind. But to think that this woman just bypassed the mom and she bypassed his close family and friends and went straight to the media and says, I'm going to produce this book. And in this book, I'm going to take some of his journal entries and put them in the book to try to upsell my book that I'm about to produce, and you skip over everybody else. It just makes me think that there's an underlying agenda. What that underlying agenda is, that's what makes me speculate so much about this situation. And I think that's what I wanted Allison to do at that time, is like tap in, like, sis, you're reading what he wrote in those journals. You're not going to take no accountability for it. But I do not feel that she did his friends and family, especially his mom, in the right way, and she did not honor him.
Right, babe. Matthew 7 verse 12 says, "So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you." This is often referred to as the golden rule, reminding us to treat others, especially those who are no longer with us, with the same respect we would want for ourselves. And here's where it gets tricky. Going directly to the media or to a publishing platform without first consulting the person's closest family and friends can come across as disrespectful. It isn't just about the journal entries or the book, it's the principle. The problem with bypassing the mother, for example, or other key family members, is that it doesn't make you look good. And outside looking in, it doesn't make sense for her to move funny like she did, unless there was something going on. So again, babe, this is making this a complicated marriage to unpack. Those closest to him should be the first to know what's being shared, especially when it involves private thoughts and moments. So this speaks to Allison's character and possibly what was really going on behind closed doors. Like my little nephew liked to say, oh, spooky. To go straight to the media without considering their feelings is inconsiderate, it's disrespectful, and it shows her true colors. That's a level of exposure that can't be undone, and it can definitely make you question the motives behind it.
I see why you call it spooky. I mean, this particular topic is really tricky. It's almost an eerie situation, but at the end of the day, all you can do is pray for the situation and say, forgive them, Father God, for they know not what they do, because we're not doing this against people. You're actually doing this against God.
Well, everybody, that's going to conclude this podcast. This is episode 5 of the R&B podcast. This is my co-host, Raven the Beauty, who gives me the privilege to join this beautiful platform that Jesus birthed in her. And it's an honor to always lift my wife up because I honor the covenant. And so I want you guys to join in on this conversation. What do you make of all of this? My wife expressed to you that she would be livid being in Twitch's mother's shoes by all of the things that are circling around her son's legacy. And when it all boils down to it, it's coming from Twitch's wife, the one person who should be honoring my man's name with respect. Yep, put some respect on my name. But always, we thank you guys for watching. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section of this video. If you have any questions or any topic that you would like for us to discuss, please let us know in the comments, or you can email us. Our email will be entered in the description box. All right, bye.